Philadelphia's quiet Super Bowl news week has suddenly roared back to life, as the Birds' longest tenured and most loved head coach just announced he's leaving the team. And I'll just say this, you are not going to like the brand new details we just got as to why Jeff Stoutland is no longer an Eagle. But there technically is a plus, and has to do with Jalen Hurts and the Birds' new offense. Oh, and Howie's top offseason target just became available, and I think he's going to make a call. I'm Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. Well, by now, you've definitely heard the news. Jeff Stoutland is out in Philadelphia. But new details are emerging that are painting a very different picture from just an old bald coach looking to ride up into the sunset, as instead, all roads now lead back to Nick Sirianni and a head-scratching internal decision that may have set the Birds on a very different path going forward. Still, as we'll see, the Eagles need a change on offense, that's clear, and they are certainly getting it now. But the optics are going to be very hard to spin. Oh, and a certain pass rusher the Eagles tried to get last season is suddenly available, and Howie is going to make a call. Either way, Philadelphia, they are taking a massive swing both with Stout and maybe Crosby, and they better not miss. First, though, the winner of the Webull Sports Birds apparel hoodie is announced at the end of today's video, so go ahead and watch till the end to see if you won. And also, link down below if you want to use my 10% discount code, which expires on Saturday. It's all linked down below. Grab your hoodie today. Oh, and in honor of Jeff Stoutland, if this video hits 70,000 views, I'm going to give away this bad boy right here, one of the official Jeff Stoutland University t-shirts. So if you want to win, drop a like. And why don't you mention Jeff Stoutland down below in the comment section. Now, I'd love to just simply start by telling you that Jeff Stoutland was feeling ready to ride off into the sunset, and that the entire show was simply a dedication to the lone good hire from the 2013 Chip Kelly era. A 13-year career in Philadelphia that saw a Pro Bowl on his offensive line in every single season he was there, with all pros also rising out of nowhere like a young mid-round center from Cincinnati or a 7th-round Aussie rugby player with zero experience. I'd love to mention that Jeff Stoutland also saw 2 running backs lead the league in rushing behind his offensive lines, Shady McCoy, and of course Saquon Barkley's 2K season in 2024. But unfortunately, that is not what today's show is all about, because it's not simply Jeff Stoutland riding off into the sunset. I'm 68 years old, I want to retire, I'm done with football. The details that are coming out from ESPN, really, from last night's show, it leads back to one man. That one man is Nick Sirianni. And I say this because, first off, it has now been reported that the Eagles wanted Jeff Stoutland back as their offensive line coach this season without his previous title of run game coordinator. And that's really where this whole story begins. Philadelphia offensive line and said running game, as we know, were atrocious this past season. Nobody is arguing that. From injuries as bad as Lane Johnson's to minor ones they never admitted, like Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens, literally the entire year. But they also were just plain bad, week after week after week. And according to a bombshell new ESPN article, the details are absolutely insane. That's when Nick Sirianni stepped in. Quote, things were less than harmonious this past season. Injuries to right tackle Lane Johnson and others along the front played a part in the ground game's regression. But there were other dynamics at play. With the offense stagnant, head coach Nick Sirianni took a more active role over the latter part of the season. He and then offensive coordinator Ken Patullo began incorporating different run designs in an effort to kickstart the operation. Stoutland was not consulted about the changes to what he felt was an appropriate degree, a league source said. The point where he no longer desired the title of run game coordinator because he felt it no longer fit his job description. So, the report that Jeff Stoutland got his title stripped from run game coordinator turns out not to be true. In fact, it was him kind of just giving it up because apparently Nick Sirianni and Ken Patullo went behind his back and made changes to the offensive line and the running game without consulting Jeff Stoutland. Also, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this video, Webull. Webull is a comprehensive investment platform that recently introduced sports event contracts as part of their prediction markets. And if you aren't familiar with sports events contracts, instead of locking yourself into fixed odds, you're trading on clearly defined outcomes. And the price of a contract reflects just how likely the market believes the outcome is at the exact moment. Each contract settles at $1 if the outcome happens, or $0 if it doesn't. And prices move in real time as new information comes out, like injuries or actually momentum shifting as well. All this happens on Webull's platform, which operates as a registered futures commission merchant. Meaning these contracts are traded in a regulated environment. You can trade single game outcomes like who wins, the spread, or the total points. They even have tournament contracts for the big game if you want to trade on who wins it all. And to explore it, you'd open up the Webull app, go to predictions, tap sports, choose your league, and view the available contracts. And right now, for a limited time around the Pro Football Championships, new users who use my link down below get a $5 voucher to explore all the event contracts. Now, this is speculative, it's not for everybody, but if you're like me and follow sports and like thinking in probabilities, it's an interesting way to observe how markets interpret real-world events. So naturally, I'll leave a link down below if you want to go ahead and check them out. Event contract trading is highly speculative and may be suitable for all investors. We will ask customers to carefully consider all risks associated with event contracts, including the risks set forth in the event contract risk disclosure and other relevant disclosures. I'm compensated by Webull Financial LLC for this promotion. Oh boy, now here's the deal. First off, we were all begging Nick Sirianni of all people to step in last year and help jumpstart a stagnant Ken Patullo offense. Nick technically, according to this, listened and did his job as head coach to try and fix things, and I have zero problem with that. In fact, this article, among others, leads me to believe that all the under-center runs that we actually liked were probably because of Nick Sirianni. But to make changes to the offensive line or the running game, that's fine. But to do it without consulting Jeff Stoutland, arguably the best offensive line coach in the National Football League, it makes no sense. And very clearly, what we're seeing here is Jeff Stoutland was offended, hence why he's gone. And let's be clear, it's not like Jeff Stoutland's offensive lines have dramatically regressed the past couple of seasons. I mean, 1 year prior, he literally created the best offensive line in football and had Saquon Barkley not only being the rushing champ, but running through school bus-size holes for like 20 straight games. And the worst part is, he split the season in half, where Nick Sirianni isn't involved versus when Nick Sirianni is involved. The Eagles ranked 4th in rush EPA and 9th in SR the first half of the season. And when Sirianni took over, likely halfway through, that EPA dropped to 18th. And so naturally, today, all the comments are asking, why is Nick Sirianni still here? How can Nick Sirianni get away with doing this? And we'll talk about that. But in Nick Sirianni's defense, one thing nobody is mentioning as to why Jeff Stoutland also likely left is the hiring of Sean Mannion. For all of us worried that Sean Mannion would just be another powerless offensive coordinator under the evil realm of Nick Sirianni, I think that notion should be put to bed. With ESPN also mentioning that same article that Mannion is slated to install a brand new scheme that will pull from McVay and Shanahan. Stoutland has no history with that offense. You'd have to have someone over him implementing a run game design, one source noted. Stoutland also remains under contract with the Eagles, and according to reports, he's not going to seek a job elsewhere, which kind of goes against other reports, but either way, he's going to be around the building likely, still in Philadelphia, just not as a coach. So really, what do we make of all this? I mean, on one hand, I still refuse to believe that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie love Nick Sirianni so much that they're able to overlook all of his flaws and are even at the point where they're like, you know what? We're going to go with Nick Sirianni over Jeff Stoutland because we love Nick Sirianni so much. Maybe that's the case, but are Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman that dumb? I truly refuse to believe it. But on the other hand, all of us fans, myself included, we've been screaming for something different for really 5 years. Screaming for an offensive scheme that wasn't just 50 hit shots a game and 30% of Saquon runs going for negative yards. And guess what? Now we are officially going to get that. Jeff Stoutland leaving makes that abundantly clear. And so I'm torn. I'm trying to be glass half full. Very hard to be right now. But I guess maybe if losing Jeff Stoutland means we get Kyle Shanahan's offense or Matt LaFleur's offense or, Sean McVay's offense, we all would take that deal. However, the handling of this is absolutely atrocious. And there's no guarantee the Eagle offense will be much better next year. And so, boy, this is going to be a very tough one for the Eagle top brass to spin. And we forget, they're going to be talking to the media in a couple of weeks at the NFL Combine. It's going to be a very interesting press conference. Oh, and one more thought on the rippling effects of this loss. Stoutland was a huge voice in the Eagles' draft and scouting process and likely was the reason they chose names like Dickerson, Mailata, or Juergens in previous drafts. Plus, now the elephant in the room no one wants to talk about is this the end of Lane Johnson? Is Lane ready to return and learn under a brand new offensive line coach for the first time in his career? Or does Stout leaving mean Lane Johnson does as well? Either way, Nick Sirianni, boy, he is going to be the scapegoat in this one. The ESPN article is hanging him out to dry. It does not look good, as I explained, the fact that they try to change the offense and try to change the run game without consulting Jeff Stoutland enough. I'm sure they at least told him, but was it enough? Was it respectful? I don't know. Either way, Jeff Stoutland, thank you for everything that you did. I met Jeff Stoutland at the NovaCare Complex this past year. One of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. Very gracious, and it's crazy that he's gone. Now, moving on, and quickly here, but right before the Stoutland bombshell dropped and turned all of our attention back to Philadelphia, Fox Sports' Jake Glazer went on Yahoo Sports yesterday and just gave Howie Roseman the green light to go get a brand new target.
I think his time with the Raiders is done.
I do.
Okay. Before the draft?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Is there a landing spot that makes sense in your opinion?
A ton of them. I'm not going to say what it is yet because I'm going to try and help it out.
Sure. What kind of haul do you think realistically a Maxx Crosby gets in general?
He probably more than Micah. So the day it happened, no less than 20 teams called me and asked, dude, is this real? Can we get him? What's it for? I'm like, God, we're not there yet, but yes, it's real.
Crosby has long been a pipe dream of Burr fans like myself. He's just never seemed really that interested in leaving the Las Vegas Raiders. But now it seems like he's ready. My guess is Howie will do his best to make Vegas an offer they can't refuse. And why do I think that? Well, remember, there were rumblings this past offseason that Philadelphia at least called Las Vegas about Crosby a couple of times before Crosby eventually re-signed back with the Raiders. Plus, the bigger elephant in the room is the fact that we know Howie Roseman offered more for Micah Parsons in that trade that the Green Bay Packers made than Green Bay made themselves. Plus, there was a ton of fire around potentially trading for Myles Garrett at the NFL trade deadline. Howie has been searching for a pass rusher, a superstar pass rusher for a while now, And Crosby might be the easiest one to go ahead and get. And the reason why is really because of his contract. He just signed a 3-year extension, yet he's the 6th highest paid edge rusher in the entire NFL. He makes way less than Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett. Now, sure, Howie has to work a lot of cap magic, but when has that stopped him in the past? My main question, though, is would Las Vegas be interested in A.J. Brown, maybe? Because it appears A.J. Brown is at least going to be shopped. Will he be traded? I don't know. Would the Raiders and new head coach Clint Kubiak be interested in giving Fernando Mendoza a number 1 wide receiver right off the bat? Well, it's going to be interesting. Maybe an extra draft pick thrown in there as well. Time will tell. Howie Roseman has told us for the past 5 years he wants an elite pass rusher in Philadelphia. I mean, way back when, Hassan Reddick, that was a big overall move. And then they went ahead and signed a pretty big contract at the time for Bryce Huff. Didn't work out, but that was a big swing. He then tried for Micah Parsons, potentially tried for Myles Garrett. That didn't work out. He traded for Jalen Phillips. Every year he tries to tell you he wants an elite pass rusher. They're hard to get. But if Crosby's available, I'm pretty certain he's at least going to call. And maybe Crosby, of all people, will force his way to Philadelphia because we forget he played in Philadelphia this past season. And afterwards, he raved about the fans, the city, and the organization.
Like cities that really have like substance to them and like true fan bases and love for their city and the game. And like going to Philly, like you could feel that energy when you go there. Like there was people everywhere downtown. We stayed right downtown in the thick of it. You know how Philly is. They're rowdy. They're crazy. They're flipping off the buses.
Just giving you the bird.
Yeah, they didn't give a damn about anything. And then we pull up. We're driving up to the stadium. And I low-key, like I never do this, but like I was driving into Philly. And this is the first time I've ever played in Philly. So that's why I took some pictures. But I was driving and there's trees and just all white and just fans everywhere in the tailgate. And you could just see the stadium behind. And I took a couple dope-ass pictures because it's like, this is my first time ever playing there. And it just, like, if you're true, like, if you love football, like, that's what you dream of as a kid, like, playing in Philadelphia in December in a grimy-ass environment. Like, that's exactly what you dream for.
Either way, what a crazy day in Philadelphia. I mean, my goodness, it was like no bit of news, and then all of a sudden, Jeff Stoutland and Maxx Crosby, and you see the dark circles underneath my eyes right now. It's because it is 5 a.m. here on Thursday morning, recording this to get it ready to go for you guys early on Thursday, because I did a show yesterday, and now we're doing an extra one, but we love news. The news is crazy. My goodness. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. The comment section is going to be absolutely nuts today. I'm going to read every single one, but now is, of course, the time to go ahead and give away the Birds Apparel hoodie, which is down here. Hang on. This bad boy right here, or one in any color that they have if you want it, and that was a subscriber who commented correctly on a previous show at CC Kramer, or CCramer3712. So you have won. Email me down below. All the details will be down there. Prove it's you. Let me know what size, what color, and your address. We'll ship that bad boy out to you guys as well. Shout out to the guys at Webull Sports. 10% discount code ends on Saturday. So if you want to pick one up, I'll link it all down below. Either way, my goodness, what a day. I'm Thomas Mott. It's been the Thomas Mott Show.